the main project on the go at the moment is the new stadium. Supporters will no doubt have seen plenty of updates on our social channels following the Home at Last hashtag. Can you maybe give us a little bit of an update on the new stadium and how that's progressing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you say, we've tried to do what we can in terms of our social channels to keep our fans and our sponsors up to date with, the most recent video, the most recent shots, the most recent content. So I hope people are enjoying that. I hope people are getting some value out of that. It was certainly great recently to take obviously our co-captains, Rambo and Gilco, around the stadium, and obviously Cocker as well, so that they could get a sense of the place. They've seen it from the outside, obviously from training, and they've seen the plans and been involved in that, but just great for them to see it firsthand, and they were blown away by it, which is really positive. So in terms of progress and where we are, to be honest with you, we're very nearly there. The pitch is down, the stands are up. So in terms of that kind of construction project element to it, really in the next few weeks, I expect to see that to all intents and purposes finished, which is phenomenal, really. When you think about where we've been with this project and with COVID and the postponement, the suspension of the project over the summer. So that's the kind of construction element. The next element, obviously, is getting the stadium what I would call kind of operationally ready. So that'll be the next big piece of work. So what does that involve? That involves, things like working with the local authority to obtain all of the relevant kind of completion consents and various kind of permissions. So that process will be well underway shortly. Working with our health and safety teams in Edinburgh Rugby and Scottish Rugby to make sure it's all obviously, fit for purpose and ready to welcome our players and fans in due course. So that piece of work will be on the go. And there's also a big piece of work on the go in terms of branding. In terms of making that stadium our home. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Either from day one and then obviously longer term into the future. So yeah, really good. Obviously the next steps are concluding all of that, making it all operationally ready, and hopefully being able to use it in anger in the not too distant future. Now with COVID-19, that might well start with the players training in it, obviously, but as soon as we can, just obviously looking to get our fans in so that they can see what it's all about and see what that new stadium's all about for us.
So Doug, what we've seen it's been brilliant. Fans really getting behind the players via our player sponsorship initiative. I know the Edinburgh Rugby fans group themselves have actually got behind 9 players altogether, which is absolutely fantastic. But maybe you can talk about the player sponsorship and why I guess it's so important to get behind the players.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Look, I guess in general, I probably can't continue to stress enough the importance of our fans continuing to back us right now. You're obviously no crowd since February. We're all acutely aware of that through this COVID-19 pandemic. And given the ongoing trajectory of the virus, it could still be some time before we welcome crowds, certainly weeks, if not months before crowds unfortunately can return. So it's not getting any easier. There's still the bills to pay. So it's the backing of our fans, it's the backing of our sponsors that, to be brutally honest, has kept this club going and continues to keep this club going throughout this period. So, we talk about player sponsorship, that's one element of it. As a club, what we've tried to do is design a whole suite of different ways that our fans can continue to back us at this point in time. We've tried to deliberately design something for all budgets as well, be that from £10 all the way up, right the way through to hundreds of pounds, because we appreciate that, people want to get involved, but people can therefore try and get involved at the level that works for their own affordability and works in terms of what they can feel comfortable with. And what we've also tried to do with all of those things, Stu, as well, is just try and make sure that it's not just a straight payment to the club, that actually in all of those things, that the club's also trying to give something back as well.
Yeah.
There's a wee bit of value back to those fans there. So as I say, that ranges from Castle Club, which I'm sure we'll talk about as well, right the way through to kind of player sponsorship. And what we're going to look to do because so many people are coming to me and saying, how can we back the club? How can we support you at this point in time? We're looking, I think, to pull that all together in the coming weeks, and hashtag back your borough. We've talked about this. Just some focal point for people to back their borough, to back their club, and the various ways that they can do that. So player sponsorship, you mentioned, I've had people, contacting me and saying, look, they want to back the club. They are saying, look, we're not spending money, on a match night at the moment because we're obviously not in the stadium, or we're not going to the open tests this year, or et cetera, et cetera. I've bought a player sponsorship just in my own name, just personally. And I think that is absolutely phenomenal. It just kind of blows me away. And you're right, the Edinburgh Rugby fan group mobilising and coming together to sponsor 9 players is just absolutely phenomenal. This really, really is. And I think, my heartfelt and genuine thanks to that group, and to absolutely everybody who is backing us at all levels right now, in the absence of crowds in the stadium. It really is making the difference, and it really, really is keeping us going. So thank you, genuinely thank you.
So Doug, we've kind of talked about their player sponsorship and how that's such an important way to get behind the players in the club. But I guess one of the main ways is through our Castle Club or Castle Club Juniors memberships. Now they've been really, really, really popular so far. Can you maybe talk about how important they are and how important it is people continue to purchase them and to get behind us via the memberships?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's fundamental. It's really, really important. Ticketing is our main source of income in any ordinary year. But the reality, obviously, where we are is we're not able to sell match tickets. We're not even got the certainty moving forward at this stage to be able to sell season tickets and to be able to provide people with season tickets. So back in the summer and just after that, we designed that Castle Club product. We spoke to our fans and we thought, right, let's design a product that's flexible, that's adaptable, that fans can buy into, that can hopefully serve a number of different purposes as the season evolves and as the ups and downs of COVID-19 evolve. But hopefully, regardless of all of that, still remains a really good value product for our fans. So, in terms of what Castle Club is, well, firstly, as I say, it's just a way of backing the club. It's a way of contributing to the club financially. And I think, as I've touched on before, that support now more than ever is just vital to keep us going. As I say, being brutally honest about that, to keep the operations going, to keep the lights on, and to see us through this period in as best possible shape as we can be. So that's kind of one element of Castle Club. But again, you're trying to ensure that these products that we're going out to fans with are actually trying to give back as well. The Castle Club also serves a number of different functions. So, for example, if we are able to sell a season ticket this year, and that still remains a big if, we need to get a lot more certainty as to what the season ahead, and a bit more certainty as that we'll get a run of games that would justify a season ticket being so. But your Castle Club membership, if you buy it now, will give you 25% off that season ticket product for 2020-21 going forward. So hopefully a bit of value back there in terms of that investment, that initial investment that you made in your Castle Club. But regardless, even if we can't sell a season ticket, what the Castle Club will also do, and this is where it hopefully becomes a bit more flexible, is that for a match ticket only territory, if we can't get that certainty for a season ticket, but we can, for whatever reason, sell tickets for individual matches, and that might be, for example, another pilot event in the future, who knows, then your Castle Club membership will get you priority for those games and will also get you a 20% discount on any match ticket purchase for those games. So that's kind of trying to align itself with the type of discount you would have had on a match ticket if you'd had a season ticket, if that makes any sense. So we're trying to hopefully cover all bases for our fans, give our fans that flexibility. And as I say, for example, if we do get to a stage where we can play a game in front of fans in, I don't know, December, January, February, whenever it might be, and it's a restricted 5,000 crowd, for example, then those Castle Club members, as I say, they can get that priority access and they can get that 20% discount on their ticket, which hopefully helps. So hopefully, I guess in short, I hope Castle Club's a product that allows fans to back us right now. But also, if we can get crowds back in, and we can start to sell match tickets and season tickets, hopefully it's also a product that can start to pay for itself in time, with the discount that you hopefully get on those products, and that we can move forward with fans from there. So Castle Club's just a huge part, really, really important part of what's of the lifeblood of the club right now. And as I say, I thank every single person who's purchased one of those Castle Clubs so far, because it has been phenomenal, that support.
Right, Doug, just staying on Castle Club, a lot of the questions that have kind of come in via social, supporters online, is just around that pecking order with the Castle Club memberships. Now, where does that sit now in terms of 2021 season pass, match tickets, selecting your seat in the new stadium? Because there probably is a little bit of confusion there just with season ticket members from last season as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so in terms of pecking order, for want of a better phrase, we promised our 1920 season ticket holders when they bought those season tickets that they would get priority to select their seats for the new stadium, for season tickets for the new stadium. And we are not going to renege on that promise. I think that was a really, really important thing. And it's one of the big reasons I think that fans backed us in the numbers they did in the 1920 season. So we're not going to renege on that. But Castle Club members after 1920 season ticket holders will also get a degree of priority as well to the new stadium. Okay, so I guess what we're saying is, if you weren't a 1920 season ticket holder, there is still an opportunity for you to get a degree of priority in terms of the new stadium, as and when we can sell season tickets for that place. So I think one of the things we do know, though, and I think this is partly down to the loyalty of our fan base, is that the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of people who've purchased Castle Clubs were 1920 season ticket holders as well. So there's a huge amount of kind of crossover there anyway. But again, I guess what I would say is, look, as always, thank you to our season ticket holders. But if you weren't a season ticket holder in the past, there is still that opportunity to get involved for the new stadium. As I say, get yourself a degree of priority for those tickets and season ticket holders tickets, as and when we can sell them.
So, Doug, just final question for me. It's obviously been a slightly mixed start to the season. Young players coming in and out of the team, new players as well. But I just want to touch on the Cardiff win. I know I spoke to you after the game, and it was a win that kind of filled both of us, I guess, with a lot of pride, wasn't it? So maybe just touch on that and touch at the start of the season as well. Yeah,
no, absolutely, sure. Look, I mean, okay, it wasn't the best of starts, was it? Losing those first three games. I think in many ways we were probably victims of the fact that, unlike a lot of other teams, we had a significant proportion of the 1920 season still to finish, in terms of the playoffs in Europe and things like that. So probably didn't get the same break that a lot of teams did, but that's no excuse. Those three first losses were really disappointing. It's probably, again, just a mark of how far we've come as a club, that our fans and on and off the field, we were so disappointed with that start, but I think the last two games, we've shown our character, we've shown our mettle. To go down to the Scarlets in those horrendous conditions. I mean, they were horrendous conditions, and a really, really gutsy performance against a good side to come away with the win there. And then, as you say, moving into Cardiff, 23 players from the squad, either long-term injured or representing their countries, for Scotland or for Fiji as well. 23 players out. So I think it was something like 7 academy players and first-year pros who were involved in that match day 23, and every single one of them got onto the pitch against Cardiff. To see that was just really quite special, and see the performance those boys put in, that side put in. To me, it shows us that the future of the club's in really safe hands with those youngsters, and the future's really, really bright. because that performance was huge against a good Cardiff side. So yeah, I think, as you say, we spoke about this after the game. I've probably never felt prouder of the squad than I did after that game, and we've had some big wins last season, but that was real gutsy stuff. It became clear the amount of players that we're going to be missing for this next period. Richard Cockrell's, I think, made a key strategic decision there that this is the time to give those academy boys and those first year pros their shot. We have deliberately not gone down the route of bringing in short-term loan signings, plug gaps here, because Cockers fundamentally believes that this is the time, this period, is where we're going to add real value to the club in the long term. And I have to say, being in the changing rooms after that Cardiff game, the buoyancy and the excitement and the pride that those young boys had in getting their shot, but also, Stu, just for the fact that a lot of them, they're playing for their hometown club. These are youngsters who have been brought up supporting Edinburgh Rugby in the professional era. They're playing for the club that they love, and I think that was really apparent in that Cardiff win, which is one of the things that made me really, really proud of it.
Now, Doug, just before we sign off, I thought it'd be great, maybe just if there's anything else you've got to say to supporters or fans that I've missed out there. So I guess, do you have a message to all these fans who are still getting behind us from home?
No, absolutely. Look, just thank you. I say this every time, but I genuinely mean it. Thank you. Your support means everything to us right now. Please continue to back us. Please continue to back the young team that are going to be playing in the next kind of few weeks, and there's going to be some tough fixtures ahead. But this next period is going to be so important for the development of the club and the long-term future of the club. We just can't wait to welcome you back to the stadium, welcome you back into Edinburgh Rugby, just as soon as we possibly can. But until then, everyone, please stay safe, and thank you.